Darragh Richardson of Agile Networks, thanks very much for hosting us this evening.
Pleasure. Nice to see you.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about the business and how you got started?
Yeah, sure. So Agile Networks came out of a management buyout from a large multinational who had been in business in Ireland for a number of years, but decided in 2011 that the marketplace wasn't good for them. They didn't believe in the Irish economy, and they made a decision to withdraw from the marketplace. So we were effectively all told that we were going to be made redundant, and it was a fairly dark place in 2011. But we gathered around and we decided we did have a viable business here, and we put together a management buyout package and bought out the assets of the business to set up Agile as a new entity in November 2011.
Wow, that's very impressive. So a multinational thought that there wasn't a market, but clearly we're in 2015 and you're still trucking away, so there obviously was a market.
Yeah, I mean, really, I suppose the genesis of the success really of the business was making a decision to focus in. We were part of a much larger business that did a little bit of everything, and really we felt that we needed to be specialists, to be niche in our marketplace. So in fact what we ended up doing was dropping about 70% of our portfolio, but in doing that and in concentrating on just doing a few things really well, we were able to grow the business. So as an example, before the previous business had left, they were turning over less than €1 million a year, and for our last year's full results we turned over 7.5 million. So huge growth in a 3.5 year period, and mostly down to really focusing in on doing something really well where you can add value and not trying to be a jack of all trades and master of none.
And for anybody who's watching that maybe doesn't fully understand what networking is all about, if I'm right in understanding, you provide the infrastructure, so like the cabling or the plumbing.
Yeah, I mean, my guys hate when I use this expression, but we are the plumbers of the internet. So it's the stuff that connects your laptop or your PC or your tablet or whatever you're using to applications, to the internet, to suppliers, to customers, to the cloud. So it's really the plumbing that gets you from where you are sitting to what you really need to get. So the important components of that are making sure that you've got the right security around the network, particularly things like wireless. Wireless is obviously a key enabling technology in our industry. So it's making sure that you can get people the right access to the right information, and on the flip side, making sure that the wrong people don't get into your network as well.
Okay, and we can see on the wall here behind us that there's a lot of household names. I see the Higher Education Authority, I see Black Knight Solutions.
Yeah.
Could you give maybe an example of how maybe you've helped one of these guys to run out a network?
Yeah, sure. So the Higher Education Authority had a programme to roll out 100 meg broadband to every secondary school in Ireland. So it was a huge project across over 800 schools, and they needed a specialist business that could help them to roll it out in what was a very aggressive timescale. So they chose us. Thankfully we won the tender, and really over the last 3 years we've been rolling out a broadband network to every post-primary school in Ireland. Very demanding, very challenging project, as you can imagine, going from massive big schools in the middle of Dublin City where there's kind of great access, out to literally Achill Island where you know you can only go in and out if the weather is kind to you. So needing to scale up to a large project like that, you've got to be flexible or agile, hence the name Agile Networks. And we've found that customers really appreciate that in a business like ours. The one huge advantage we have over maybe some of our larger competitors is being able to be flexible and being able to change things rapidly as projects change with time. So we found that with larger companies like HEAnet, and also with smaller indigenous businesses like Black Knight, very successful, young, fast-growing business who have very specific requirements, need us to react quickly to meet their market demand because they're growing very, very rapidly and they suddenly need a lot more capacity in their network. So delighted to be able to work with local success stories like them also, yeah.
It's quite fantastic to think that the business, it grew out of adversity, but you've managed to turn it into an incredible success that's actually has a real meaningful impact as well on the community and on for Ireland.
Well, I mean, certainly for me, the success has been growing it from a business with 6 people as it was at that stage to 18, which is our current head count, and we're continuing to employ more people. And also adding value in Ireland. A lot of the work that we do used to be done by people overseas, either doing this kind of work in the UK or the States or Netherlands, places like this, and then shipping in the equipment, shipping in the engineering expertise for a couple of days and then going out again. By being based here and being specialist in this technology, it's allowing us to create jobs locally here and making sure that the local servicing is done here, etc., etc. So it's just a case of we really do have an eye on trying to make sure we always add value locally. And that even extends out. There's obviously a lot of US multinationals with bases in Ireland, so companies like Abbott and Analog Devices and GE, companies like that, who typically would do a lot of their work overseas and then just ship it in for the day. And something I'm very passionate about is Irish indigenous businesses adding local value to these foreign direct investment. It's great that they're here, and it's great that they're employing people, but for them to really be successful in the marketplace, Irish businesses need to make sure that they're working closely with them and making Ireland a more sticky country for them to be in as well,
So typically your business revolves around supporting the Irish market, and your customers are Irish based, but a lot of them are multinationals that have set up here.
Yeah, so the vast majority of our business is based in Ireland. We have a little bit of business in the UK, mostly kind of subsidiary offices, but there's quite a lot of multinationals that have an EMEA base, European base here, either predominantly in Dublin, Cork or Limerick, and they need local expertise. And again, what they were finding previous to our existence was they were having to ship people in, and they were having to try and squash, condense all of their work down into, a small defined period of time. And things go wrong with projects, and engineers need to fly home again, and they discover they've turned up with the wrong power cords or the wrong spare parts or something like that. So by having a local team on the ground here, it means that they get a better experience. And it's not just about building the best networks, but supporting it. So when things do go wrong, and they do go wrong in IT, as I'm sure everybody knows, things break or things get moved, or the cleaner unplugs the wrong thing at the wrong time. And, you need somebody to come and fix it. And that's where, by having us on the ground, holding local spares, holding local engineers, and having the local accreditation, it means that those multinationals get a better service than they otherwise would have done.
So the local access and the local knowledge means that when things go wrong, and they will go wrong inevitably, that you can be there to quickly deploy a solution. Yeah,
so I mean, a lot of our customers, that the service level agreements that they really need are 4-hour or even 2-hour break-fix contracts, and you can't do that if you're not local. It's as simple as that.
No, not at all. It's a fantastic service. And I just noticed that over here we have a couple of awards as well.
Yeah.
So you guys have won a number of awards.
Very grateful to have won. The current total is 13 and counting after 3 years. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, so we've won a mixture of industry awards. Some of them specifically in the technology industry, but we've also won more general business awards. So like the Startup Awards, sponsored by Bank of Ireland, where we got recognised as Grand Prix winner overall for 2014. And I suppose what that's allowing us to do is build our brand. It builds our credibility, especially when I talk about these large multinationals, that they're, you're walking through the door and they want to know, well, who are you? Like, what have you got behind you, And having something like a national award really does open those doors. And certainly since winning that particular award, it's made a huge difference to us getting into bigger and bigger accounts and people taking you more seriously as well. And, you can't counteract that. I mean, when people say, well, I'm taking a risk here, how can I trust that you'll deliver a service to me? Being able to point to an award and say, well, look, we've been judged by our peers or by independent outside bodies. They've assessed our business and they think, we're an award winner. That really does help to open doors as well.
Fantastic. So the Irish Startup Awards have very much helped you guys to de-risk, or rather your customers to de-risk their investment.
Absolutely. And as I say, it's allowing us to compete against often large multinationals who maybe have, they'll have other types of accreditation internationally, but they don't necessarily have that local kind of commitment to local business. And it certainly, from our point of view, has opened new doors to us. And it's also reaffirmed to existing customers that they made the right choice. The other big difference, I'd say, with awards is internal to your own staff, your own team, that it does give them a greater belief. It gives them a stronger belief that they're working in a small business. It is a growing business, but it's like any business. People always have maybe sometimes doubts in their minds, or are we as good as the big guys? That kind of David versus Goliath type of thing. And by having things like awards, up on your reception wall, it really does imbue that belief system in people, and also makes it easier to attract new people in.
That's fantastic. And so you've already achieved so much. Within the next sort of couple of years, have you got any plans for further expansion?
Well, at the moment we've been growing quite quickly. So last year we grew the business by about 56%, which is, a reasonably good year.
Fantastic.
So one thing we're putting a lot of focus into this year is building our own managed services around some of our own intellectual property. So this is taking the business on to the next level in terms of adding more service wrap around what we're giving to customers, providing more rich 24/7 services. So it's us developing much more R&D in our own internal capability, and we've already got a few customers who have taken that on a trial basis, and when that's ready to go, hopefully that will make us even more important to our customers, and it's also clearly going to help the business from it's annuity revenue, which is good from a valuation point of view, and it's good from a customer stickiness point of view. So that's one of the big focuses for the next 18 months. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, Darragh, thanks so much for your time,
Sure.
and really impressed to see what you've achieved, and wish you the best of luck for the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.